Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Fit Tarot 9356 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole here for not wanting my boyfriend to come over anymore because he's too much of a clean freak? So I lied to my boyfriend and told him I'd be out of town this weekend, just so he wouldn't come over. I feel bad, but honestly needed a break. I'm starting to get really fed up with how obsessive he is about cleanliness. For context, I have 2 cats. I vacuum 2 to 3 times a day just to keep the fur under control, and I try my best to keep things clean. But you know how it is. Sometimes fur still floats around or lands in spots you miss. The issue is he'll notice a single strand of cat fur and act like it's the end of the world. There were times he literally woke me up in the middle of the night to complain about one piece of fur floating in the air. I'd say I'll vacuum in the morning, but he keeps poking me until I get up and do it right then and there. He also hates when my cats go into the rooms, so whenever he visits, I have to keep them out. Which feels unfair because it's their home too. He wears black all the time despite me suggesting not to, so obviously fur sticks to him more. And then he complains right in front of me like it's my fault. Out of frustration, I cancelled our weekend plan so I could have some peace and quiet. He's been staying over every weekend lately, and honestly, I don't feel at ease in my own space anymore. I don't know. I feel kind of shallow and petty, and maybe I'm being unreasonable. Am I the arsehole here for needing space and not wanting him around because of this? Now for me, the first line in this post was had me thinking this relationship is on the ropes already, that you feel that you have to lie to get peace in your own space is wild to me. That everything feels so suffocating that you have to fake being out of town just to get some peace. It feels for me that he's slowly moving himself in and basically doesn't want your cats around. Everything he's complaining about seems to be about your cats, the fur, purposely wearing black, which, may be a style, but it feels with everything else that he's doing that on purpose so you can spot it. Complaining in the middle of the night about one piece of fur floating about. But Rob says, you cats have fur. You're going to get cat fur on you if you come over. Stop your incessant whining and deal with it. Or if you can't, don't come over anymore. Your choice. Prudent Border says, not the arsehole, but I think this is part of a bigger problem. He clearly has a problem with cats, and you have too. Seriously, think about if you have a future. JQuest says, not the arsehole. This is next level OCD. He's coming into your space, their space. I'd cut your losses and find someone who is a little less compulsive. And Greedy Wind says, making me vacuum in the middle of the night because of one cat hair would have been it for me. Even if it's not intentional, that's now abuse. So OP did come in with an update after that one and said, hello, I just wanted to share an update because things took a turn I honestly didn't see coming. So after I lied and told him I'd be out of town, he got suspicious and showed up at my place on Saturday. I wasn't expecting him though. I was literally in my pajamas, curled up on the couch with my cats, enjoying a peaceful day. He knocked, and before I could even process what was happening, he was inside complaining about all the fur everywhere. I asked him to leave, but he kept ranting about how disgusting it was. Then my oldest cat, who's super friendly but sheds a lot, jumped on the couch next to him. He freaked out, stood up, and shoved my cat off the couch. My poor cat hit the floor and ran under the bed. He's okay now. I completely lost it. That was the final straw. I told him to get out and that we're done for good. He tried to apologize and say it was an accident, but I didn't care. If you can't respect my cats, you can't be in my life. I honestly feel so much relief now. I can breathe again in my own home without feeling like I live in a museum. My cats are back to lounging wherever they please, as they should. So yeah, I guess I have my answer now. Thanks for letting me vent here, and thanks for those who commented on my last post. So much appreciated. Fancy Complaint says to OP, I said this to you in your last post. You're going to be so happy with your next boyfriend, all cuddling together with your cats. Glad you took the trash out. Obviously, not the arsehole. Opie says, thank you. Honestly, I'm already happier just having my cats back on the couch with me. Next time I'm picking someone who brings treats for them, not complaints. Ready Cucumber says, he didn't just not respect your cats, he didn't respect you. You told him you were unavailable that weekend, but he came over anyway. You shouldn't have to lie to spend a weekend alone in your apartment. And then he's inside the apartment and he's sitting on your sofa, even though you were clear that you didn't want to spend the weekend with him. Opie says, seriously, it's kind of scary realizing how normal I thought that was at the time. Impressed Dry says, the fact that you felt like you had to lie just to get a break says it all. And absolutely that, but the situation with him just turning up when Opie was meant to be out of town, just walking into the apartment and then just start complaining straight away, that's weird for me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Put yourself in OP's shoes. How would you have dealt with it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Off My Chest subreddit from NextAd5948 and says, friend asked if I could babysit their newborn. And before we get into it, there is a warning on it of a car accident, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It says, my friend, 23, and his girlfriend, 21, are having a child. He is like a brother to me, and they have made me the godmother. The baby is not even here yet, and he asked if I could babysit his child for July 4th weekend, as he is going out of town with his girlfriend and family. The girlfriend is due soon. Expected due date June 25th. I told him I'll let him know if I can next week, but I think it's quite strange to go on a trip after just having a baby. I feel like they should take time to establish a routine and bond with their newborn. It's really weird why anyone in his family would even support going on a trip knowing he will have a baby fresh out of the womb. I'm not one to speak on someone's parenting, but from the moment he told me he was having a child, he didn't take it very seriously and tended to have unrealistic expectations. I'm not doing anything on July 4th weekend, as I was just in a car accident a month ago and still mentally healing, but this shouldn't affect my ability of taking care of the newborn. It's more so that newborns need to eat every 2 to 3 hours and need extra care during this time. If I say no, I feel like this would deem me as not dependable to babysit in the future. His girlfriend definitely knows. It's shocking that a new mother would be willing to leave her newborn after giving birth, but I don't think she's thinking clearly either. She seems naive and goes with whatever he wants to do in order to satisfy him. I would not be comfortable with doing this if I was her. They both weren't ready from what I have observed. He got her pregnant after only 3 months of knowing her. He constantly vented to me about their relationship problems, and after a while, I started to ignore it because he kept pushing her. The relationship seems toxic, and they don't understand how much a child affects their daily lives and won't know until the child is here. He also says he lives paycheck to paycheck and the girlfriend doesn't work, but yet he constantly wants to go on trips. It is upsetting when people have babies and they are not emotionally or financially prepared. It affects the child the most in the end. I will be reaching out to my friend to discuss my concerns. I think he is still having a hard time processing that he's going to be a father, and I have told him on multiple occasions that when you're a parent, you no longer come first. He has yet to understand this. I can only hope that he starts being more mature once the child arrives. I wouldn't stress if it makes you look undependable to them in this situation, because what they're requesting is wild. I mean, it just comes across that they have zero understanding about what's about to hit them. And if I'm being completely honest, and I'm not sure if it sounds like a leap or not, the way that OP was describing his behavior of and her behavior of always going along with what he wants to do to satisfy him and calling the relationship toxic, and the choices around everything as well, it's concerning for her, I think. The commenter says to the OP, "You're not the arsehole," unquotes. "Although I am the godmom, I wasn't expecting to babysit so soon," and then says godmother does not mean on-demand babysitter. Quotes again saying, "Is it typical for people to do this after having a baby?" And then says, "No, it isn't. Mother will still be healing, and a weekend away from a brand new baby is probably the last thing she wants. She probably doesn't plan to still go on this trip. Doesn't even know you were asked to do that." and quotes again saying, I'm not one to speak on someone's parenting. Then says, I'll do it. He sucks and is in for a huge reality check. OP responds saying it was definitely his idea because this is not the only trip that he planned for this year. He's also planned other trips with our friend group, but I turned them down as 1, he should be focusing on being a dad, and 2, I'd rather save money. I think that once she gives birth, she'll probably change her mind about going on the trip, but she seems to just go with whatever he says. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. I think they're in for a rude awakening about the responsibility of being a parent. The idea that they'd be fine to travel a week after she delivers is wild. I would certainly say no, but I would also ask them if they've talked to their doctor about traveling separate from a 1-week-old child. OP says, I will be expressing to him my concerns about this because his girlfriend does not need to be on the trip right after birth. He never took the pregnancy seriously, and now that she's about to give birth, I think he is still having a hard time with accepting that being a father comes first. Someone says about OP being able to communicate with a girlfriend about her feelings on the trip, and OP says, sad part is, I don't even communicate with his girlfriend. We never established a friendship. They barely knew each other when she got pregnant. His girlfriend and I do speak when we see each other, but it's nothing more than a hello. I've tried having conversations with her when I see her, but it's mostly small talk, which is why I concluded that we don't communicate. When my friend and I hang out, it's also just me, him, and our friend group, so we don't see his girlfriend as much. I was just as shocked when he asked me to be the godmother because wouldn't she have someone else in mind, like a sister or a best friend, to be the godmother? Then my friend told me that she knows he wants me to be the godmum and that she is okay with it. I also discovered that sometimes the mum and father each choose their own set of godparents. Oh, those red flags keep on coming, but OP comes in with an update and says, I recently posted about my friend, 23 male, and his girlfriend, 21 female, asking me to babysit their newborn, who would have been less than a week old while they go out of town for July 4th weekend. I'm not sure if many of you recall this, as I've deleted the post in fear that he may see the post, but I thought I would provide you all with an update. He and his girlfriend was in a car wreck on 6/21/2025. This is also the same day I talked to him about my concerns with babysitting the newborn. I did tell him that women needed to heal after giving birth, and what if the baby comes earlier or later than expected? Due date of 6/25/2025. He told me his girlfriend said she'll be good and they didn't think it would be an issue going on the trip. Shortly after that phone call, they got into a wreck. My friend lost control of the vehicle while driving on the highway and hit into the barrier. No other vehicles were involved. Thankfully, they're okay and the girlfriend had an early labor. She gave birth to a healthy baby girl on 6/23/2025, born 2 days early. When I said the baby could come earlier, I didn't mean it in this way, but thank goodness they're all okay. It's safe to say they will not be going on the trip anymore. My friend was driving his brother's car and the brother did not have car insurance, so my friend has to pay out of pocket to pay for repairs. Although this may cause a financial strain and may be very stressful, since they have to deal with a newborn, it could have been way worse. It's crazy how life could change in a matter of seconds. Someone in the comments below this was questioning if the friend could have substance abuse problems that could have affected this, and OP says no. At least not that I know of. He's just one of those people that doesn't think about the long-term effects of his actions. He's a good guy, but just needs to make better decisions, and I try to encourage him to do better, but there's so much I can do. A commenter says, wow, what idiots think it's okay or even possible to leave a newborn with a babysitter in the first week? That's insane. And it shows that they've not been reading up very well on newborn care. I hope they will do a bit more research and learning about caring for a newborn. This also should have been a hard no from UOP. Good to hear they're okay and hope they will grow as parents in the future. Another commenter says, tell me you're a pregnant first-time parent without telling me you're a pregnant first-time parent. A week postpartum. Yeah, I'll be fine going on vacation. Baby will come exactly on time. Please watch my newborn. Oof. Another commenter says, please keep an eye out for this baby and potential neglect or mistreatment. These people sound like absolutely idiots, clearly too young and immature to go through with parenthood. And the last commenter says, all I can say is that if anyone had left their newborn kid with me so they could go on a getaway, I would have called Child Protective Services the second they were gone. I don't care if the friendship is lost over it. I would continue to foster that baby if allowed. By no way would I ever let such selfish people near that baby. Oh, I always find it a bit frustrating how many times we see in these stories about such and such person is such a good guy, but then gives a list of reasons why they're not. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story also has a trigger warning of a car accident within it. It's from a throwaway account and says, "Am I the arsehole for being concerned about the damage my son did to my car? I'm a mother of two, Vanessa 25 and Brandon 22. I'm not married to their father, but they both have a relationship with him. They went to visit him this past weekend for Father's Day and was set to get to my house on Monday. Brandon drove the two of them there and was supposed to drive back. The car he drives was mine originally. I paid it off and did not ask him to buy it from me on the condition that he is responsible with it. He was only paying for gas and maintenance. This was the first car I've ever been able to pay for up front without taking out a loan, which carries sentimental value. So it is my car as far as I'm concerned." A few minutes after they left their dad's, I got a call from Vanessa saying that they had gotten into an accident. I asked if the car was damaged and she told me it was totaled. I was immediately furious because Brandon knew how hard I worked for that car and I was very clear that I expected him to care for it. I asked Vanessa to please put her brother on the phone. Instead, their father came on and explained that they were in the emergency room and that our son was receiving treatment. My ex then started to berate me for being more concerned about the property than about the kids and for getting angry at our son without knowing the situation. But in my defense, I hadn't realized that he was injured. To be clear, Brandon will be fine and the other driver was completely unharmed. But they are still furious with me. I'd assumed that if his injuries were serious, that it would have been the first thing they told me. But that isn't a good enough explanation for them. It's been a few days now and both kids are still with their father and won't come to stay with me. Am I the arsehole? Imagine picking up the phone and hearing a family member was in a car accident. I think I know what most people's first response would be. Are you okay? Can I help you in any way? I would like to think that would be the first for many people. The whole "I didn't realize he was injured" defense falls flat when you consider that she didn't even ask if they were okay. Not with "how's my car?" And even after the fact, that you're still focused on justifying what you said rather than being mortified by what you said. It says everything. But Cat's a Cat says, "You're the arsehole. One can be as careful as possible and still be in an accident. You just assumed it was Brandon's fault. Why was the younger sibling to drive or even have the car, period? As I would presume that the older one would be more responsible and diligent. If you want something important to you to remain as is, keep it, as others won't share your sentimentality." Opie says Vanessa does not have a car. She is 25 and fully employed and can buy one herself. I bought her one at 16 and sold it when she graduated. What the fuck? Brandon has one more year left in school and the plan was to do the same for him. But if he wants a car now, he can work and buy one himself. I don't know if I'm overreacting to that sentence. I bought her one at 16 and then sold it when she graduated. I'm just like, what? Decent Front says, "Who was responsible for the accident? You don't even say." Opie says, "It appears the other driver was at fault, but I did not know that at the time." You didn't ask questions. Another commenter says, "You knew that when making this post though, and it still comes across so angry at your son about your car. You're still blaming him in this post about how he was meant to be responsible, blah blah blah, and he didn't even cause this accident. Literally every time a person gets behind the wheel, there is always a chance someone else will hit us. This is the risk we all take. The only way to 100% guarantee that your car is going to be safe is to keep it in the garage. Maybe do that next time since it means so much to you. You're the arsehole." Opie says, "Of course I'm not angry at my son now. That was just meant to explain why I was at the time. It was a stressful situation all around and I got caught up in the heat of the moment." Formal Type says, "Info. Why was your first instinct to "we're in an accident" was to assume that it was Brandon's fault? If a family member or friend would have called me and told me they were in an accident, my first questions would have been, is everyone okay and what happened? Opie says, well, he's 22 and he's been driving for less than a decade. Younger drivers are prone to accidents. Regardless, yes, are you okay should have been my first question. I believe that since his sister was well enough to call me, that she was fine, and there wasn't a scratch on her, in case anyone was wondering. And in the panic of the moment, it slipped my mind to ask about him. That was my fault. So, OP comes in with their update, and it says, first of all, to be very clear, I do not care about the car more than I care about my children. It was a moment of heightened emotion, and I spoke before thinking. I can concede that it was insensitive. To be clear again, my son has a concussion and a few broken ribs, but will be fine. The car is unsalvageable, and yes, it is insured, but that will not replace the sentimental value, but it's fine now. Now I called my children to apologize and explain that I would not have asked about the car first had I known that they were in an emergency room. Vanessa admitted that she should have told me that first, but that she was very stressed at the time. I was not able to get that far into the conversation when their father came in with some choice words for me, and the call ended shortly after. I believe he may be manipulating the kids into not wanting to talk to me or come over, but they're adults and that is their prerogative. My plan is to let it play out. And for me, the update didn't make this any better in my opinion. I mean, the last sentence or so was pretty telling, that I believe he may be manipulating the kids into not wanting to talk to me or come over, instead of, them being pissed off at you for what you did and you not taking any responsibility for that. You're still putting it on someone else. It just felt like a whole load of deflection to me. And the way you talked about your son again, to be clear, my son has a concussion and a few broken ribs, but we'll be fine. Fucking just a few broken ribs. That's your child. I showed more concern about Jeff down my local pub when he told me he broke a rib about a year ago, and I barely know the bloke. Come on, own up. Apologize to your kids properly and try to rebuild it in some way, and think about what you're saying, the way that you're talking about him. Because fuck. Ugh, dearie me. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and just a huge thank you for being here today and getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'm going to see you, you bloody cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Take care, and much love.